So if you've been looking into floor sleeping, maybe because you've got some back pain or you're trying to figure out what you need to do, your mattress not working for you, you may have come across Japanese futons in your research. The thing is, you may be confused by the results that come up because half of them are overstuffed, thick mattresses that double as couch. You can put it on a metal frame or something, fold it up, whatever. The other half are super thin and you're like, would this really fix my back? I myself have been floor sleeping for over 2 years at this point, and it's just within this year that I've gotten to sleep on actual real Japanese futons. I've gotten to try different brands and different setups, and 2 months ago I literally went to Japan to see how a real one was made thanks to you guys. So in this video, I just want to give you a guide as to what you're gonna wanna look for if you are in the market for a real Japanese futon. Everything from the futon itself to what goes underneath it and what I would avoid. So let's get into it. The first thing we'll clarify, because some of y'all in the comments is like, it's futon. It's not futon, but it's futon. Just let me say futon, guys. Okay, let us clear up what a futon actually is. So when we're talking about Japanese futons, they are completely different than Americanized futons. And so even when you are going to buy one, there are a lot of American companies that say, oh yeah, we have Japanese style futons. Some of them just straight up say, oh, shiki futon, shiki buton, because those are the words for the authentic Japanese futons. The folding couch, you know, the futons that you put on those metal frames or those wooden frames and they can fold out into a bed, they can be your guest beds, whatever. Those are not the same as the ones that are actually made in Japan. Traditional versions are relatively lightweight. It's like you are able to, as one person, pick it up and take it from point A to point B, like so. I want to say this is between like 16 and 20 pounds, something like this. You're still gonna get a good workout, but as one person, I can lift it and move it places. This is a full size. These are both like for 2 people, like the minimum size you would want for 2 people. They're considered doubles. This one on the left is from Futon Tokyo, and that's a custom one that I made while I was in Japan, and the dimensions are American full size. On this side, I have futon beds from Japan. This one isn't necessarily the same as a full size. Regardless, these are both authentic Japanese futons made in the traditional way, layers of cotton, and both of these companies have been making these for over 100 years. The main thing with these guys, they can be handled by one person. Like, I put these out to sun at least once a week. I don't need help. Other Americanized versions of these futons, they weigh twice as much, 40 to 50 pounds, and they are not made with layered cotton. It's just all stuffed in there. You really have to search for what their weights are, or you need to reach out to customer service and get an idea. What I'll tell you straight up is, as of now, I don't know any American companies making Japanese futons in the traditional way here in America. These are both from Japan. So yeah, that's the main thing you need to consider if you are really looking for a traditional Japanese futon. You got to be able to manage it yourself, because if it's 50 pounds, you're not going to be able to go sun it out easily. And that's what I have experienced in the past as well. And also, please note, there is a big difference in the pricing as a result of how it's made. So if you want these traditional kinds, literally there's an artisan or a futon master, a person that lays out all the layers of the cotton. They do all the stitching, everything. It's a person, okay, one by one. There's obviously a price associated with that when it's done that way, as opposed to the Americanized futons where they are made by machines and overstuffed with cotton. And I think a part of the reason why the American versions are so much thicker, just in general, that's what we've come to know from our mattresses, right? People from Japan started bringing their traditional futons over here. I did some brief research, like somewhere in the 60s or 70s, like some of these were coming over this way, and the Americans like, oh, that's pretty cool. We're gonna make it a little thicker because it's gonna mess up my back, because I'm used to the regular mattresses that I've had this whole time. So that's kind of where the whole change happened. And then we got more American futons, which are still lighter than having a whole mattress. They're still a little more portable because you can fold them up into couches, things like that. So that's what happened over here. But yeah, now that you know what the difference is, and maybe some of you have even experienced this, I would love to hear from you down in the comments. So now let's talk more about what you would want your futon for, okay? So if you are looking for this to be more of your full-time setup, I will tell you straight up that you might want to test something first. And I have a free floor sleeping 101 guide down below. Once you know you're committed to floor sleeping or you've seen the benefits, maybe you tried a cheaper option first. For instance, my first futon was from Zonly and it was 2.5 inches of memory foam. And I slept on that for over a year. I was trying to do other Japanese futons, and learn more about them so I could share that with you guys. And I had a few hit or misses, right, before I was able to try out these guys. So that's the progression I would consider. I would not go all in on this kind of set. The tipping point for me was that in the morning after sleeping on a purple mattress, sometimes it was good, but most of the time it was bad. And I just kept telling myself, well, this was $1,000 mattress. It should be good. I just need to wait longer. And I waited several years before I finally gave it away. And that's how my whole floor sleeping journey started. But when I started sleeping on the floor, it was not easy at first because my body had to adjust. But after maybe a week or two, it's I used to have a bunch of chronic lower back pain and just always would wake up with a sore neck and everything. I do have a CNN feature down below though with a spine doctor, and he talks about how a firmer surface could keep your spine more in alignment. I'm just gonna demonstrate on the floor because yeah, on my back. Oh, the floor feels so good. It's so cold and refreshing right now. On my back, there's definitely a gap here, but when I first started sleeping on the floor, sometimes tuck something under my lower back, sometimes something under my neck. I talk more about this in the floor sleeping guide also. Usually if you're on a futon, there's a little fluff that just stays there. It just kind of fills in those gaps. It's a little fluff, okay? But on my side, if you even just look at me, my head is down, right? It needs a pillow. It needs to be like this. Even for me, I'm bony, right? So you need to check about thickness because it would be more, you could potentially get more pressure points on your shoulders and your hips and stuff. I definitely had those when I first started, but over time they went away and I just feel like my body got stronger or for whatever, I don't know, it just worked. Now, I will just give you some close-ups of the futons that I have, okay? And really what makes them true Japanese futons. All right, so I'll show you the futon beds from Japan one, just because you can see the tufting more easily. There's more contrast and stuff. But just in general, with traditional futons, basically they're really fluffy. Especially when you first buy them, don't be deceived though, because it's fluffy. When you press down, it comes back up. That's called rebound. When you lay on it, it's going to compress over time, okay? And then what's fun though is every time you air it out, it will fluff back up. That's why it's so important for you to get something that you can manage by yourself. Another thing you can do is you can get two singles and lay them side by side. If you're, sharing with a partner or whatever, you could do it that way too. But this double size is manageable. I have to just double check what the weights are, but do I have a scale here? Pretty sure though that the weight for this particular one is around 20 something pounds. The thing you're definitely gonna want, and you don't wanna skip out on this, you need a breathable surface underneath your futon, because your futon can trap moisture over time, the cotton or whatever, every day. Apparently we sweat up to a cup a night, which is kind of gross when you think about it. But I have noticed if I didn't sun out my futon for a whole week, it feels a bit heavier because it got all that moisture in it. So you need something like a tatami mat or breathable wood slat frame that goes underneath as long as the air can circulate. You can also do something like coconut coir rug, things like that. So there's a lot of options out there, but I could just show you. The one that's currently in my room right now is from Futon Tokyo. It's a foldable tatami. So one side is anti-slip or whatever, and then this side is the tatami or whatever. I like it because it's super lightweight. It's very thin or whatever, but I also do have other options in the house. I have a more traditional one from the Futon shop that's in my son's room right now because he doesn't need stuff to move around as often as I do. So we kept that traditional one in his room for now. And then I also have Zonly's foldable ones that I really like too. They're hanging out in my daughter's room. Now with the futons, each company has their own kind of covers, right, that they like. So for futon beds from Japan, they have a zipper one you stuff into one side. Honestly, it's not my favorite, but I mean, you only have to do it once a week or whatever, when you go to wash it and stuff, but you would slip it inside. But an easier way to do this slip inside thing is if you fold this into thirds. Thank you there was a viewer that told me this and I was like, oh, you saved my my life because I was like, I'm not doing this all the time. You can buy this zipper version, or you can also just do what I do and like put a full sheet on it. Like I have a fitted sheet that I just put on it, and it kind of like brings in the corners a little bit, but it's still a lot easier for me than this. I don't even have to do a fitted sheet. I'll just spread a regular sheet over it and be content with that. But for you guys, I'm gonna do this.
$2,000 years later.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. You slip it in and then you zip it up. But I like to just either drape a regular sheet on top of my futons, or I do the fitted sheet. I'll be honest with you. So do you really need this? I don't know. It's up to you guys. You could also have this on here and then have another sheet on top of it. I think you get more life out of this, you know, or a longer cycle between switching. But definitely you should have something over top of this. And you definitely should air it out. Now, there's different ways to do this. If you don't have access to like sun or outside, you can use a futon dryer. You can just slip it in like under the covers, and then it will just warm it up over time and help to dry out any moisture. All of this stuff I have links to below if you want to learn more. The way a cover works for me is like I get a cover and I then put like a sheet over the cover so that I don't have to switch the cover out as much. The one company that doesn't really want to work together, they have a cool cover where it's not a zipper. It's just like Tako Okaya. You slip it on each end of the futon, and that seems more manageable, and it only covers the top side. Yeah, so what you're gonna want to do when you wake up each morning, honestly, is check the underside to make sure you don't got no dampness or whatever. And definitely you can't just leave your futon in one place all day, every day. You need to move it around so that it has the best chance of not retaining moisture. So in a sense, there's a lot more maintenance when it's compared to like a regular mattress or whatever. That's a big deal. Plus I have no more back pain. I'm very sprightly because every day I just get built-in squats or whatever. Like I just can more easily go to the floor now over time just because I incorporate that. So for me, I'm just like, all right, if I have to like hang my futon during the day or whatever, it's like a small price to pay. It's just what works for me. Hopefully this video helped you to know exactly what to look for in actual Japanese futons. And I would just consider like, okay, if I buy this futon, you know, am I going to put sheets over it? Do I have access to outside, or should I also consider a futon dryer? The best futon is the one that's comfortable to you and easy to maintain. So like I said earlier, if you want help with making that transition, I do have a free floor sleeping 101 guide. You can get the link below. I also linked all of the brands, all of the products that I talked about in this video, and some of them do have discount codes as well. So you can see all of that below. And if you're kind of just at the point where you're just looking to get into floor sleeping, I do have a guide for that. You can watch that as well. I'll link it here too. Until next time, stay sprightly, my friends, and I will see you.